will also help us. Next slide, Shiraz. Okay. So today, like I've introduced myself, this is Lovely. I'm Dubai chapter leader, also a manager at Dubai Holdings. We have Christina here. She's the global manager marketing community for UiPath. And we have a speaker, Sharaz, who is intelligent automation lead from the First Abu Dhabi Bank. Okay. So next slide. So now I'd like to invite Sharaz to give an understanding on the agenda and the main agenda for the today session for the autopilot series. Hi Sharaz, welcome to the session.
Thank you, Lovely. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Lovely. And thank you, UiPath, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you all for joining the sessions, UiPath Autopilot for Everyone series. So, as Lovely mentioned, this is a 3-day series, and we are on the first day, which is 15th of April. We have upcoming series in 17th of April, and we have the last conclusion on the 21st of April as well. So, Lovely might be sharing the link as well. So, if you are joining, if you haven't registered already, I would suggest you to register for the last 2 sessions as well. So coming to the topic, maybe I'll introduce myself first. Myself, Shiraz KM. I'm working as Intelligent Automation Lead in First Abu Dhabi Bank, UAE. I have total 11 years of experience with relevant automation experience of 7 to 8 years. Okay, and coming to the topic now. So I'll start with UiPath Autopilot Overview. Our main topic is UiPath Autopilot for everyone. But before that, I'll give you a brief intro about the UiPath Autopilot as a product, and then I'll talk about Autopilot for everyone. And definitely before we go for the installations and configurations, I want to show you some of the capabilities of Autopilot for everyone. If you classify the capabilities, it is inbuilt capabilities are there, pre-built capabilities are there, custom capabilities are there. So I want to start with inbuilt capabilities. We'll just see how good the Autopilot for everyone is, and then after that we'll do the installations and the configurations, and I'll try to cover the pre-built capabilities as well, and then we'll try to find some further discussion panel. So this is the agenda for today's session. So let's go into the topic. So before I start talking about UiPath Autopilot or anything, let's talk about the word autopilot. So if I ask you about autopilot, definitely if it was like before 2 years or 3 years, definitely the two things which comes to my mind is something which supports the pilot autopilot, something that supports the pilot in the aviation industry. And I believe first, I think the autopilot keyword was used in the aviation industry. Then I think if you then the other one which I come is like the Tesla cars. We all are here about the autopilot in cars, right? Driverless cars concept is there. So the concept remains the same. If you see the autopilot in aviation industry, it actually built to support the pilot. But now, if you see where the future is going, if you see the images, the the pilot is sitting idle and the autopilot is doing most of the parts. The future is autopilot is expected to do everything starting from the takeoff till the land off, and the pilot is actually to monitor and make sure that autopilot is doing as expected. Now, coming to the automobile industry, it is similar only because if you see, we have seen driverless cars, right? But initially, the reason why they introduced autopilot is actually to support the drivers. So in recently in agentic technology, also this keyword is used widely, the autopilot. The concept is same, but the only difference is there in aviation industry and in automobile industry, how they are doing is with the help of sensors. Here, instead of sensors, we have like AI-driven systems are there, which actually support the agentic technology. So that's all about the autopilot. Now let's see like what is meant for by autopilot for UiPath. So if you see here, UiPath have actually built a lot of products starting with Autopilot. So they have built something for developers, they have built something for testers, they have already built something for business analysts, and our main topic, Autopilot for everyone. So just to give an understanding of what is meant by different tools, basically the concept is same only in order to support them. So when I say that Autopilot for developers, it is something which is built to support the developers. For example, if you go to the studio, previously, if you see here, we start with the main activity, right? Now, if you see here, we have something called as generate with autopilot. So something which help us as a developer. So a developer, I'll be using Studio or maybe I'll be developing the apps, right? So just to get an understanding, if I click on generate with autopilot, I'll just type like this one. I need to create a guessing game between 1 and 10. And this is my uh, requirement. I need to create a guessing game between 1 and 10, and it should stop once the guess is correct. So I'll just click on generate. So this is not part of our topic, but I just want to give you a glimpse of at least like what is autopilot for developers means, because this is specifically helping the developers to develop their code. So let it take some time. By the time I'll go to my slide. So that's why we have Autopilot for Studio, Autopilot for Apps. This is already there in UiPath for quite some time, and we have something for supporting the testers, which call it like Autopilot for Testers. The recently, compared to developers and testers, we have a recent product for business analyst as well, which is Autopilot for communication mining and Autopilot for process mining. But now in October 2024, they have released new product, Autopilot for Everyone. If you ask me personally, I'm more interested in Autopilot for Everyone compared to all of these tools because of the capabilities Autopilot for Everyone has. So if you see here, we'll go to the, okay, now it already generated. So if you see here, it already generated. My request was actually to guess between 1 and 10, and it should stop once the guess is correct. So you've already given me a framework. It will generate a random number, create a loop, prompt the user for a guess. If the guess is correct, it will log correct guess message. If it is not there, it will again the prompt the users to try again. I can confirm or I can modify. I can, if I confirm, it will already create the uh, a framework for me. So if you see here right now, if you compare the concept here, it is actually helping the developers, right? It might not be a foolproof 100% solution, but it has already done 80 to 90% of the code. Right now, it is doing for a small process, but in future, I'm expecting even a complex automation, it can do like this. So this is the future of autopilot. So coming to autopilot for everyone. So before I start, like what is autopilot for everyone and things, I want to understand from the who are joined, just comment there. If you have already installed or configured autopilot for everyone in your machine, you can type like yes. If you haven't done it, you can press like no. Lovely, I might need your help to see like what is the response coming there.
Sure, sure. So I can see that few have opted for, oh, one, okay. Oh, it's a mixed answer, but I think many people are not aware, they are not using it, Shiraz. So I can see two yes and multiple no.
Okay. To be very honest, I'm super excited if it is no, because for them it will be a super excitement when they see like how the autopilot for everyone is working. And for the people who have selected yes, this will be a refresher session for me, and definitely we can have a conversation on the view of autopilot for everyone from your perspective as well. So now the question is like why they have named it like autopilot for everyone. So if I ask you a simple question, we have UiPath Studio, right? UiPath Studio is built for whom? So we have a definite answer. UiPath Studio is mainly built for developers. I don't think that any business user is going to use a studio, right? And if I ask you, like, orchestrator is meant for whom? UiPath Orchestrator is meant for administrator job, not the business users is going to use the administrator. But if I ask you a question like, we have Google, who is using the Google? What will be your answer? Google is used by everyone, right? It is not specific to any role. It is not specific to any community. It's not specific to any set of people, correct? It is used by everyone. Or let's say that if I ask you, you all are familiar with ChatGPT. I just ask you, like, who is using ChatGPT? ChatGPT is used by everyone. So UiPath, I think they are actually building a first product which is meant for everyone. When I say everyone, whether you are technical, non-technical, developer, tester, business analyst, or a business user, admin, CEO of the company, everyone can actually use autopilot for everyone. That is the beauty of autopilot for everyone. So now I want to talk about what are the capabilities of autopilot for everyone. So mainly, I can classify the capabilities into generative AI, clipboard AI, context counting, and automations. Okay. Generative AI, right now, we all are familiar with generative AI because we all have started using AI assistants and things in different format. We are familiar with the generative AI. The whole capabilities of generative AI is actually incorporated in the autopilot for everyone. So you don't need to go for any other AI assistants. Once you have autopilot for everyone, you can actually get all the benefits within the autopilot for everyone. Clipboard AI, most of you might be familiar with the Clipboard AI. If you're not familiar, Clipboard AI is one of the best innovations in 2023. And what it does is it's also an AI driven component. I'll showcase you an example of how the Clipboard AI is working. It's basically an intelligent copy paste system, which is also incorporated along with the autopilot for everyone. And then we have context grounding. Context grounding is mainly just to give you an example, like uh, you have an AI assistant, but if you ask generic questions, definitely it can answer. If it is available in Google or if it is available in Wikipedia, it can answer your questions. But what about the documents which is internal to your systems? For example, like company policy document or HR policy within your organizations. How you will get the answers if I ask a question related to HR policy within my organizations? So the answer for that one is actually the context grounding and definitely the automations. UiPath is already very stable with a lot of automations, and we can easily integrate most of the automations with the autopilot for everyone. That means you can literally trigger the automation from here, but not in the normal attended format. It has more capabilities because its AI capabilities are incorporated when we are invoking the automations. Definitely, I will cover all these things in the hands-on sessions itself. And how the autopilot is different from other AI assistants, because you might know like other AI assistants definitely have the generative AI capability, but it doesn't have the clipboard AI capability. It cannot in what trigger the automation. So the point is it is not just another AI assistant. It does more than AI assistant. Once you complete the sessions of 1, 2, and 3, definitely you will agree to my point that autopilot is different from other AI assistants. So let's see in action. I have done my theory part. Let's see in action. The first question is like where I can see the autopilot for everyone. I'm talking about autopilot for everyone, but where I can get the flavor of autopilot for everyone. It is there in AI Assistant. So if you see here, this is something which we are familiar with. If you are working with UiPath, you definitely will be familiar with this one. And all these things, reminders, marketplace, everything was there for a quite long time. But this, if you see some 3 stars, autopilot 0.0.31, this is something new. This is there after 2024.10 build only. And for some of you who have already installed it, you will see the screen like this. But for the, who haven't enabled this, if they click on this one, they will see a different screen. They need to install, they need to some configurations, which I'll cover after this explanation of the inbuilt capabilities. I'm just getting a pause here. I'll be going with the actual demo here. Before that, if any of you have any questions, lovely, anything you want me to discuss before we go for the live demo?
No, I think we can good to continue.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have, and just to save some time, I have actually added some of the questions here. Let's say that I'm asking some questions. Let's say that I'm from a coding background, but I doesn't know like Pythons or Streamlit and things. I'm just writing like I want to learn coding by building something fun and useful. Can you guide me step by step to build a personal expense tracker web app using Python and Streamlit? So this is something which I'm asking. So what I'm expecting is it should give me a generative answer like how I can do this one. Okay, so you see here, it is actually giving me a proper reply, like how to do the development environment, create a new Python file, what all libraries need to be important, and you see all the answers related to the coding I'm getting in couple of seconds only. Okay, so this is what I'm explaining. I'm still explaining about generative capability only. I haven't done anything on the automations or the task automations. I haven't touched anything. I need to, because why I'm focusing more on this one is because I want to know the people like what are the capabilities of Autopilot for everyone before I go for the configurations. Or maybe let's generic some if I want to, if I'm feeling demotivated, let's say that if I want a short motivational story, so I can definitely ask. I want you to focus on this thing. That is thinking, and after that something. Okay. So basically what is happening in the background, I will explain a little bit. So when I ask a question, it actually running a process in the background. Okay, we all know that it is calling a LLM model, but since it is UiPath and it's all related to automations, there is a process which is getting run in the background. I'll show you that in the orchestrator. Like whenever I ask something, which process is getting run. So this is my second one, and it has the capabilities of language detection. So if I ask like in some local language, Hindi is a local language in India. So if I ask like what are today's news in Hindi, Autopilot have is supporting different languages including Arabic, French, Hindi, English, Malayalam. So many languages are actually supported by Autopilot. So if you see here, you see something like running Google. So basically how it is doing, like since I have asked for translations, it actually getting the help from Google Translator and it's actually giving me the news. No, it's actually getting the news from the Google and it giving me the answer. So it is actually running a process in the background. So where it is running and everything, I'll explain to you. If you see here, I'm actually connected to default tenant, correct? So if you are familiar with UiPath, every assistant is connected to a tenant in the orchestrator, and I'm connected to the default tenant. Let's say that it's actually giving me all the news in Hindi, but let's go to orchestrator first. So if you see here, I'm connected to my default tenant, and when we configure autopilot, automatically this folder will be created. I haven't created this manually. When we configure the autopilot, this folder will be created automatically. And if you see the process, one, two, three, four, five. Five processes are added by default. These are the inbuilt capabilities of autopilot for everyone. If you remember, when I asked some questions related to news, it was actually running Google in the background, correct? If you see the jobs here, you see, Google was successful 1 minute ago. Autopilot will be running continuously because if you see here, autopilot is enabled every time, right? So that means autopilot is running continuously. But if you see the Google, it ran successfully 1 minute ago because I have asked a question which requires the help of Google. Let's say that if the help is from the Wikipedia, because we have something called as Wikipedia as well. It will run the job Wikipedia. We don't need to do any configuration for this one. We don't need to do any job or any process here. When we install or configure autopilot, automatically these process will be added here. I'll show you in a couple of minutes, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay. So now let's see some of the other capabilities. Language detection I have already. Let's say that what will be the use case for all these things? Let's say that you are working. I'm basically from a banking domain. Since I'm working from UAE, I will get normally a lot of documents in Arabic. Let's say that I want to understand the documents before I need to take a decisions, and I want to convert Arabic to English. So definitely I can, if autopilot is enabled for me, I can use the autopilot for that one. I'll attach one file, an Arabic file which I have already created. There's one Arabic document. If you see here, and I will mention like convert this document to English. So convert this document to English. So what I'm expecting is it should give me the content in English. And to see like what is happening in the background, I can actually go to orchestrator and see the jobs like which is running. It's actually an inbuilt capability in the autopilot itself. So only the autopilot is running here, and it is analyzing the image because this is how it has the capabilities of the document understanding. So if you see here, it is giving me all the details in English format. So how it is doing, because Autopilot have strong collaboration with the document understanding in the UiPath. If you want to install Autopilot, definitely we need to have integration with the document understanding. That is one of the prerequisites for installations of the Autopilot. This is how Autopilot is working with the document understanding. And one of the other use case may be, let's say that we have a very large document or an agreement, and I want to see like if there is any anomaly in that agreement. So if you see here, I have some details here. A big document or a sample service agreement document is here. And I'm asking like identify unusual statements that are included in the service agreement below. So I'm giving you use cases just for you to do some thought process, because how you can actually use, how the business can actually use the autopilot for everyone. Because this is a tool which they can use on a daily basis as an assistant for them. And because if you want to read through the whole service agreement and understand the unusual statement, it is a little hard, right? So this is something which they can solve with the help of autopilot. This is how the business users will use the autopilot. That's why it is meant like autopilot for everyone. So now coming to this one, we'll see the some of the capabilities of document understanding. Okay. Let's say that if I have a receipt and I want to extract the table from the receipt. This is the receipt which I have, and I mentioned like extract the table details from the receipt. I'll open the receipt so that you can know like, okay, it's already opening here, so I don't need to open it from the table. It contains quantity, details, everything. And if you see here, it is analyzing the image. So which capability it is using? It is actually using the document understanding capability. And with AI technology, it can automatically identify, because I haven't done any uh, training on this document. This is a random document which I have downloaded from the Google and I'm uploading for the first time, and I'm just asking it to extract the details from the receipt. So since it is an AI driven thing, it is already pre-modeled for many of the documents, and by default it can actually extract the details in couple of seconds. Okay, so it acts actually the structured. I need in a table format, right? So I'll mention like in I need in table format. Let's see like what is the result coming, because it gave me in proper details only. I need in the table format. Okay, if you see here, it is giving me in proper table format. Okay, so most of the values were actually zero only in this one. That is the reason why it is showing as zero only. But one capability you can see is there is something called a spaced in word. How it is coming is, let's say that I want to paste it here. Okay, automatically it will detect that I'm actually in the word and it is giving in paste in word. Let's say that if I want to put it in a Excel file. Okay, so I'm opening an Excel file. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment box if you have anything. At the end also we'll discuss it, but in between if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat box. Okay, so I have opened the Excel file. Now right now my Excel is active, right? So automatically Autopilot for everyone can understand that I'm active in Excel, and it will give me option to paste it in Excel. So let's say that I kept it here. You see paste in Excel. If I click on paste in Excel, it will paste the complete table into Excel. It might take a couple of seconds. Let's wait for pasting it in the Excel. If you go, it is pasting it. Okay, it is okay. It has actually extracted all the value. If I don't want to make any modifications, I'll just mention like paste the data. It automatically pasted in Excel. If I want to do it in a notepad or if I want to do it in a PowerPoint, just I need to click on the PowerPoint and this option will automatically be coming here. Now I want to show you some capabilities of the clipboard AI. For that, I'm actually uploading another receipt, which is in a handwritten format, or maybe this document where some value is there. Okay, extract the table from the attached document. So it contains some value. So we'll see like how it is extracting from this document. And also, I want to highlight that if the document is handwritten, also Autopilot have the capability to understand the language. It will detect properly. And if you want to convert it into English, it will convert into English as well. So these are like the inbuilt capabilities. Okay, we haven't added any more capabilities to the Autopilot. Once you install it, anyone can use it by default. All these capabilities, we don't need to do any configurations. Just plug in and use all the capabilities. So if you see here, it already extracted item number, description, quantity, unit price, total, everything. So one thing I want to show you is, okay, so I will ask this to, I have an option to add this to clipboard. So I'll sending to clipboard. This is what I meant by clipboard have the integration power. And then let me go to this sample form which I have created. What I'm trying to showcase is the capability of clipboard. Okay, unfortunately, I need to sign in first. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I think I need something matching for this one. Let me see. This one, this two. Okay, I think I can actually paste it in Excel also. What I was trying to, because I had missed to upload that document. So I'm just pasting it here. With the clipboard AI also, we can actually paste the values here. But the beauty of clipboard is that, let's say that if you want to uh, paste it in a form, which I have created like this in a form. Unfortunately, I missed that document. Otherwise, I would have shown you. Let's say that we have some details like start date, end date, employer, first name, last name, all these details are here. And then if I get it in a table format and if ask clipboard to paste it here, automatically it will identify like where I need to paste the value, where I need to paste the start date, where I need to paste the end date. I don't need to do any configurations. With the help of clipboard, it will automatically identify which place I need to paste the values in the table. That is how the clipboard works. So all these capabilities are incorporated into Autopilot for everyone. So I will see like, yeah, these all things which I want to explain on the generative AI capabilities. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Now the question is like, everything is doing, but it might look similar, right? Because we know that there are a lot of AI components which is available and might look similar. So how the UiPath is doing in the backend? So how the UiPath is doing is like UiPath is not going to develop an LLM from the scratch because there is no point in reinventing the wheel. We already have good GPT-4 is there, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is there, Gemini is there. So UiPath have good collaboration with all these LLMs. UiPath have GPT-4, Gemini, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So if you ask me the question specific to autopilot for everyone, which LLM is used, it is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And if you compare the capabilities of Claude 3.5 Sonnet with GPT-4, we cannot say like which is good or which is bad. It is like comparing uh, both the LLMs have one is better than the other in some capabilities. In some capabilities, GPT-4 is better. So we cannot compare and come to a conclusion that GPT-4 is better or Claude 3.5 Sonnet is better. But one thing I can tell is like based on coding abilities, definitely Claude 3.5 Sonnet is better than GPT-4 based on the feedback from different developers across the world. And if you see, GPT-4 is developed by OpenAI. Claude 3.5 is developed by Anthropic. I want you to remember this word Anthropic because when we install it, we need to use this one. And it is released in June 24, fairly new compared to GPT-4. And it has the capability something similar, accuracy is similar, speed is similar, multimodal input. Text input is only supported by Claude. So since Claude is supporting only text input, it doesn't mean that if you ask Autopilot for everyone to generate an image, if I go and ask now, it does not have the capabilities. But it doesn't mean that we cannot generate an image because UiPath is giving us an integration option. We can actually integrate with ChatGPT or GPT-4 and we can generate an image as well. I'll show you like how we can integrate it in the later stage. And then we have ethical guidelines is similar to how we can access Claude 3.5 so that you can actually search Claude AI interface in Google and then you can interact with Claude 3.5 Sonnet LLM. And the pricing is comparatively less for Claude compared to GPT-4. So that's how the autopilot for everyone is actually doing all these generative capabilities. Now let's come like how we'll install it. Because if you see here, for me, it is working, but if you try to open from your system, it might not be enabled, correct? So let's do one thing. Let's
Shira,
go to, Mhm.
so before we go deep dive into the installation, there were a few questions on the licensing, which I have taken care from. I have given the reference from the documentation, UiPath documentation. However, there's one question: can you list the steps of to an entire project for it to do, or is there a limit to the amount of commands it can take?
No, I don't think there is any limit on the amount of steps it will come. Basically, if you ask the questions, it's how the licensing works is like there are AI units are there, correct? For every, I think for every question you ask, one AI unit is actually consumed in the backend. So as long as you have the AI units, definitely you can ask as number of questions you can require. But based on the configuration, there might be a limitation, but I haven't seen any limitation from my side. I have asked big chunk of questions and it is giving me the answers.
Thank
Um,
you.
uh, Okay, fine. So now how to configure it? So if you see here, it is already configured in my system, right? So let's do one thing. Let's go to a tenant where autopilot is not configured. If you see here, what I have done is I have a tenant. So if I'm changing the tenant from here to for installing autopilot, click on yes. So if I go to this tenant, autopilot is not installed in this tenant. So if you from your perspective, if you have gone to orchestrator, how it will show is so so autopilot, in order to navigate to autopilot, you need to remember three A's. That's how I'm remembering it. Three A's means first you go to admin. We have admin option here in the more sections. Second A is AI trust layer. Okay, it's taking a bit time. Let me close this. Okay, if you go to AI trust layer, there you can see something called as autopilot for everyone. So how to navigate to autopilot for everyone? You can remember three A's. Go to admin. It is there in the mode, and then select AI trust layer, and go to autopilot for everyone. Here we are actually enabling autopilot for everyone at a tenant level. So these two I have already installed that autopilot for everyone. If you go to autopilot, if you see here, I have already installed it. So I'm getting the uninstall option only. I'm not getting the install option because I have already installed in these tenants. But for installing autopilot, I haven't installed it. So if you see here, install autopilot for everyone is disabled. But there are few prerequisites which we need to do. First thing is like it is released in 2024.10 release, right? So ensure that your assistant is 2024.10.5 or later. Then only the autopilot for everyone will be supported. First thing. And second thing is like if you see here, I have already mentioned that in the inbuilt capabilities, that document understand capabilities are there for autopilot for everyone. So definitely we need to enable document understanding. Otherwise, we cannot install it. Okay. And enable user license management will be automatically enabled in case. Worst case, if it is disabled, what you can do is go to admin, and there is something called as settings is there. Go to advanced settings. So anyways, this will be recorded. So I'm just going through the steps later. If you want to see the recordings and if you want to do it, you can definitely do it. If you see here, user license management is already enabled it. If it is not enabled, you will see a button to enable it. You just need to click on that button and enable it. Okay. So now going back to AI trust layer, admin, AI trust layer, autopilot for everyone. I'm selecting for installing autopilot. I need to enable the document understanding. Correct. So how I will go and enable the document understanding? First thing is to enable the document understanding. So I need to go to this particular tenant for installing autopilot. There is something called as services. Here, add services is there. From there, we can select document understanding and click on add. So basically, I'm adding a service of document understanding to this tenant. And once it is updated, we can go back to AI trust layer and see whether it is enabled or not. So now going back to my admin AI trust layer, autopilot for everyone. Click on for installing autopilot for everyone. You see enable document understanding is already checked. Now the last one is enable anthropic models in automation ops. You might be familiar with Anthropic now because Anthropic is like a product owner for Cloud 3. Sonnet 3.5, which is the main LLM used in autopilot for everyone. We have to enable it. How we will enable it is a question. Definitely we need to go back to AI trust layer only, and there we can actually, okay, we have to go to automation ops, not in the AI trust layer, or go to automation ops. These steps I think you can see from the recording, so I'm not explaining much on the steps how I'm going and all. Definitely if you want to enable a policy, definitely you have to go to automation ops only. Okay, so I have already created one policy, but I can create one policy for training purpose. So I'll create like autopilot demo policy. Okay. And it should be under AI trust layer only. Click on add. So if you see there are different options are there, out of which you need to go to the models. This is what I was explaining before. We have Azure, OpenAI, Gemini models are supported in UiPath. We need to enable Anthropic. By default, Anthropic is disabled. That is the reason why we have to set this one enabled and click on save. But if you see here, what I have done is like, I just created the policy only. In the automation ops, we are not making any configuration. We are just creating some policies only. Once you deploy early, it will be coming into picture. So we have to go for the deployment. Okay. And where I want to deploy it, I want to deploy it in the for installing autopilot, right? Because this is where I'm actually setting up my autopilot for everyone. And under the AI trust layer, I have two policies. One is autopilot or autopilot for demo, whichever is fine because both the policies will look same. But since I have created autopilot demo now, I'm selecting this one. Click on save. And then now we go back to autopilot for everyone from admin, then go back to AI trust layer. AI trust layer, autopilot for everyone. Select the tenant for installing autopilot. You see everything got checked. So we have done all the pre-installation checklist. This is by default, it is there. We just need to click on install autopilot for everyone. So installation might take a little bit of time. And once the installation is completed, what you can expect is once you go here, so by default, your assistant might look like this because I have actually connected with this one. Let's wait till the installation is completed. Once it is completed, you might need to quit and log in one more time so that it will be refreshed and you will see the autopilot for everyone's screen. So here it is taking a bit of time. Okay, in interest of time, what I can do, okay, autopilot solution got installed. And now if I quit assistant and then I'm trying to log in again. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm connected to for installation only. Okay, the last one which is already there. If you see here, now it is installing the autopilot. I quit and when I log in, it will install the autopilot. So if you're facing any challenges, I have seen some of the glitches when we are installing the autopilot for everyone. You just quit and try to log in again. It will actually install the autopilot. It might take quite some time. Uh, okay, loading something good. In between, lovely, any questions are there I can answer by the time it is getting installed?
No, we are good. Maybe you can comment on the license part if you on the whether it
Yeah,
is
license
free
part.
in community.
Okay, so for the community part, it is free only. So if you this and so only thing is like you need a pro license. If you see, so I'll give you a role now. Intelligent automation lead, department, IT, next. Okay. So if you see, autopilot is enabled for me. Now coming to the license part, if you see here, I have the pro license here. Okay. So if you are having community license, definitely I would suggest that you go to the license and upgrade it to the pro license. You have an option go into the license here and you will see, and since I have already enabled the pro license, I'm not getting that options. If you are on the community license, go to your license, you have an option to enable the pro. You might need to give an organization email ID when you are actually upgrading to the pro license, and it will be available for 60 days. After that it will be expired. So I have recently enabled it, so I have 47 days left. So pro trial license is something which is a prerequisite on top of the pre-release which we have discussed now. Okay, this is I'm talking about the community one, but when it comes to actual productions, definitely license cost is there, and how it is consumed is based on the AI units. And I think for every chat, one AI unit is consumed, but I don't think that UiPath is have a full structure on the license part since it is recently deployed into the production. So as far as I know, it is based on the AI unit consumption. Okay, so now coming to this one, we have enabled the autopilot for everyone. Okay, so now coming back to our slide, we have enabled, I have given all the steps here. Now I have mentioned like there are different capabilities like inbuilt capabilities and pre-built capabilities. Okay, in order to showcase the pre-built capabilities, what I will explain is go to the marketplace. There are a lot of components available. Like let's say that this is autopilot for everyone, right? I'm just typing like autopilot for everyone marketplace. If you go to marketplace, you will see a lot of solutions available in marketplace, which is built by UiPath only. So why they have built this one, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I have connected to this tenant where I haven't uploaded any of the pre-built capabilities. So I'm typing like write an email to sharaz.km32@gmail.com, highlighting the benefits of autopilot for everyone. If I ask this question to autopilot where pre-built activities are not enabled, because these are the inbuilt capabilities only, right? If you see here, it gives me an email component, but whether it is actually sending this email, no. It is giving me some suggestions or maybe a email body it is suggesting, but it is not taking any actions. In fact, it is not sending email to this ID. It is giving me suggestions only, correct? Why it is not sending? Because for every AI capability, we need to add tools to it. Let's say that I have an automation for sending email, and I have actually integrated that automation with autopilot. I can definitely send email to this email ID. So instead of building every small things, what autopilot have done is like they have given us a solution where a lot of inbuilt capabilities are automatically uploaded to the orchestrator. So if you go to the marketplace, that's why I'm going to the marketplace. If you see here, if you search autopilot for everyone, there is something called as productivity is there, which is free. And we have something called as product and engineering is there. Autopilot for sales is there. So basically I can download this one and I can actually upload it as a solution in the orchestrator. So I need to sign in first. So what I could show you is I have already uploaded in one of the tenants. So I'm navigating to autopilot tenant. So in autopilot tenant, if you go to the orchestrator, what I have done is like assume that I have already downloaded this part. Let's say that if you go to the downloads, you might see the zip file which I have downloaded before. If you see here, there's autopilot for everyone productivity. This is a zip file which I have downloaded before. Let's say that if I have already downloaded and I have already imported to my orchestrator, how I can import is I just need to go to the tenant and we have something called as solutions here. Go to solutions. Okay, maybe I can do it from this since we have some time. I can go and show in the actual tenant itself where it is not installed since I have already in the downloaded file. Okay, go to the solutions and packages are there. Upload solution package. So since I have already downloaded from the marketplace, it is there in my downloads. If you see here, productivity or automation. I'm clicking on open, upload it. So basically what I'm doing is I went to marketplace, I downloaded one solution and then I'm actually uploading that solutions into my tenant. Whichever tenant I need the productivity automations, I'm downloading it. It might take some time. So I'll switch here. Once it is done, we have to deploy it as well. Because once it is done, we have an option to deploy that package to the tenant. Let's say that if I have done already in interest of time, it might look like this. Okay, go to the tenant, go to the solutions, and if you see the packages, it will have autopilot for everyone, productivity, automations, and then deployment. If you go to the deployment, if you see here, autopilot for everyone, productive automations is already installed here. So here in the other tenant, we have seen only one folder called as autopilot, but here you have seen like productivity folder is also there. And if you expand it, there are a lot of automations are available. For example, like Outlook automations. If you go to the Outlook automations, you have 20 process. So basically 20 sets of new capabilities are already inbuilt here. If you see here, I have something called as send email is there, get Outlook events is there, delete Outlook task, create Outlook email. All these processes are automatically getting installed in our orchestrator. Let's say that this capability is not there. We might need to build for each and every capability, right? Instead, what they have given is like we have a productivity folder solution which we can actually upload. And there are other solutions as well. If you see here, not only productivity, these all are something which is already built. Outlook events are there, Salesforce is there, Slack and Teams is there, Jira is there, and many more. And definitely you can expect more and more solutions coming in future as well. So what I have done is like if you see here, I'm connected to 4 installations which does not have the capabilities of inbuilt. But if you go to autopilot and if I ask the same question, cannot okay, I'll do one thing. I'll go to autopilot one more time. Okay, maybe process is running here. I'll go to this one and see which process is running. It's uh, in the productivity autopilot. Okay, tenant I need to change. Installing autopilot. Automations and jobs. Okay, I don't think anything is running. I'll just do one thing. I'll try to reset it, exit autopilot, and I'll try to restart one more time. Just in interest of time, I'm not debugging on the issue. Okay, so if you compare in one of the tenants, what I have done is like I have just installed the autopilot. In second tenant, what I have done is like I have actually added some pre-built capabilities also, which I have downloaded from the marketplace. So let's see like what is the difference when try to run something from tenant, which I have already installed the pre-built capabilities. Okay, so now if you see here, cannot perform action while they're in the process running for any robots configured. Okay, unfortunately some issues there. Okay, if in case, worst case, if it is not working, definitely I can show you in the second no. So I'll explain you it's expected is. Let's say that if I ask to send an email right now in the pre-built one, it is actually not giving, it's not sending the email, right? But if I run from a tenant where pre-built activities are already enabled, it will send the email as well. It can actually do the actions as well, not just giving me the prompt. So that is the difference. But unfortunately, I'm getting some issue here for installing 40 Fulton and autopilot. Robots configured here. Okay, maybe for installing autopilot, I might have actually started this deployment. That could be the reason. Okay, anyways, we have only 10 more minutes. So maybe I'll open for the Q&A sessions. Definitely, I'll show you like how the actions are doing in the second session. Since we have the second session, I can definitely showcase there as well. But in interest of time, if you have any questions, you are open to ask the questions. I can answer.
Sharaz, can you comment on how to write a suitable prompts in autopilot? If you have any comments on this.
Okay, maybe the background of the question is like we know like there is a set of questions which we need to ask in the agentic automations like oh, this is a one prompt and things. But in the case of an autopilot for everyone, you can ask like a normal AI assistant only. You can ask the questions, but there should be something which you need to take care when you are incorporating automations to autopilot for everyone. Basically, how when you give a description for your automation, you have to take care of few things which I will be explaining in the second sessions. But asking questions to autopilot for everyone, you can ask in normal language. If it is giving you the right answer, definitely that question is fine. But if you want to reword your questions, you can reword until you get the right answer. But when you integrate with automations, there is a format which I'll be taking in the second session. Hope it clears the question.
Yeah, sure.
If
That's all
any
from the
have
question perspective, but yeah, we since with the interest of time, if anybody has a question, you can unmute yourself and ask questions to Shiraz directly.
Or maybe if you want to share something, that's also fine. Like if you since you some have already installed it, some have already used it. If you want to share your experience, everything is fine. It's not just a Q&A sessions. It's a discussion forum which you can ask any questions or discuss anything. Deploying the packages here. So this is after the maybe I if no questions, the package is already installed. uploaded to here. I can actually deploy here, deploy the package. I can install as a new folder and I can continue. Okay, it's already exists here. Okay, project.
Also, if there's something which you would like to see and get covered in the series, let us know. We will definitely check and get this also as a part of a series. Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat or in you can unmute as well. So we have one question, Sarah. Is it possible to
Mhm.
trigger multiple automation in the same time? Can it be connected to an on-premise automation?
Okay, so right now, Autopilot for everyone is enabled only in the cloud solutions. It is not available in on-premise or in Automation Suite. It is not available now since it is deployed only in last October. But I think you can expect in 2024.10 release, I think they're planning for on-premise or the Automation Suite as well.
Few users are using Pro using so the few users are in community version with their personal email ID and they would like to switch to Pro. So is it business email mandatory? Can you
No,
comment on
I mean,
this?
like when I talk, when I say like business email ID is required, doesn't mean that your login ID should be business email ID. You can actually log in with your personal email ID, but when you convert to Pro, it will actually ask for a business email ID. So if you are working in an organization, you just need to give your organization email ID there. The login so you can still use that community versions, but you might need an organization email ID for enabling the Pro. So if the deployment completed, definitely I can show you that pre-built activity as well. I think we have 5 more minutes. Let's see that if this completes or not. It normally takes a couple of minutes.
One more question. Does the
Mhm.
automation triggered under autopilot folder need robot license?
Automations, okay, definitely what is required is like so if you see here, autopilot is actually running like an attended automation, correct? So you might require an attended automation license for this to trigger your automation. So when you ask something, when the automation is triggering at the backend, some attended automation license is required. Or not just to run the bot, even if you want to open the assistance and thing, automation attended license, or at least some license which connects to assistant is required. Okay, the successful is so this one is successful. So I can showcase in the same example itself. So let's say that what I have done is like I have actually uploaded the package here for the productivity packages here. Now let's say that I'm writing sent an email to shraskm32@gmail.com highlighting importance of autopilot for everyone. Okay. So previously, when I asked that question, it was actually giving me the mail body only. But now what I have done is like I have added some automation capabilities to this autopilot. And if you see here, it is giving me the mail body. On top of that, it should give me an option to send email as well. See here to send. You see, it is actually connecting to Microsoft Outlook 365. Okay. Since I'm doing for the first time, I might need to connect it first. I'm establishing a connection here. I have done all these connections in the other tenant. Since this is a new tenant, I might need to add the connection. So how it works is like basically an integration service we are doing here. So I'm just clicking on connect. So I'm giving the mail ID. So basically for whenever we add a capability, we have to integrate it first so that next time it won't ask, it's only for the first time. So it might have sent already a code to my this one. So it gave me a simple code 456531. I click on sign in and it stays signed in. So basically what is happening is like I'm actually doing an integration connection with my Gmail account. This is because it needs to send, it needs to integrate with one account. So they are doing all the validation. If you see here, the connection was successfully created. Now, if I go back to this one, if I click on try again, it might have timed out by now, but if I can actually give a try again for, okay, I can ask the questions again, some glitch. We have 2 more minutes. Fortunately, I think I can stop by sending this email.
One last question. Is the
Mhm.
Anthropic the only option for autopilot, or can we use LLM from OpenAI and Meta, etc.?
No, so we don't have an option to configure which LLM we need to use it. But basically with the existing one, it is actually a combination of all the LLMs, but mostly it is using by Anthropic. If you see here, when we are enabling, it's not just the Anthropic. We were actually having all the connections were there. So I don't think we have the flexibility to change the LLM, but it will take the best. It's a combination of all the LLMs, but mostly by used by the Anthropic one. But so unfortunate it is taking this much time. Normally it doesn't take. Okay, if you see here, right now, if you see here, it is coming in this format because I have already did the connections here. It knows like which is the recipient. It is actually giving me the message. It is giving the subject, and I don't want to draft. I want to send it. I just click on the run button. So if you see here, job started processing. It's a create Outlook email. So which process this is? Because if you go to the orchestrator, we have seen under Outlook automations, if you see here, there is a process called as create Outlook. So it is actually running that job in the backend. So this is how the automation will work. It is successful already. And if you go to my email, it will receive in a couple of seconds. I think I have actually given my other email ID. So I'll go to that email ID. Okay, it might take some time, but automatic. I have done this one and it's actually send the email. But if you see the differences, one was actually giving me only the prompts. One is actually taking the actions, and how it is doing the actions is because of the tools which you have given here. If you see here in the jobs, it has actually run create Outlook automatically run successful 1 minute ago. So we have actually added a lot of automations as one of the capabilities of Autopilot for everyone, and with that we can do the actions as well. So in the next session, I will cover like how we can create custom automations, and we will talk more about the pre-built activities as well. We'll be covering in tomorrow, and how to enable the context grounding will also be taken care in the second sessions. So lovely. That's all from my side. Since it is already 8 o'clock, I think we are good for now.
Yes, Shiraz, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining, and feel free and see you in the next session, which is on 17th of April, same time, 7 p.m. GST, and where we will cover the next part of Autopilot series, where we will cover most of the, I think, the concept in terms of the elevating your automation skills, where we will have, I'll, okay, where we will talk more about, the hands-on experience, importing the pre-built automation to fast-track your automation journey with some practical insights. So you can dive into the creating tailored automation solutions that will help you understand more in terms of autopilot. So yeah, that's all from my side. And Shiraz, thank you so much for your time and giving this informative session and insights on this autopilot.
Thank you, lovely, and thank you everyone who have joined the session. See you in the next session.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.